What is going on, guys? This is obviously Jordan here, back again with another video. And if you haven't already noticed from the title, I guess gathered from the title, um, unfortunately, due to I guess unforeseen circumstances, um, it's become apparent that yeah, if you haven't already guessed from the title, that I failed this year at University of Bristol. So I got one more year of studying, one more attempt at second year, and like, am I disappointed? Yeah, of course. Am I surprised? Like, no, no, not really. It was quite. I expected this. I kind of anticipated it based on, of course, my attempt at the exam, of course, the coronavirus and all the other things that happened throughout the course of this year. So I guess on that, like, is this the best possible outcome? Um, I'd have to say yes. Like, honestly, think this is probably the best, if not one of the best possible outcomes, given that we have a pandemic, given that I'd be going into my third year, studying in a room 10 kilometers away from the actual university itself. Um, Given that, yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot to go through. I guess I'm not going to go through everything in depth now, because I've literally just read my exam results. I dropped off my car at Halford's, like way back here somewhere, to fix my tire, finish my water bottle, and then I thought, let me just sit down in the park and see how it went. And then, yeah, to no one's surprise, it didn't go great. So yeah, I don't know. This is going to be a long video. It's not really much to say again. I might sit down properly some other time and just go through it in depth, talking about like what my actual thoughts are, what this means going forward, and things like that. Because I assume people are interested based on the view counts of my past videos on the issue. But yeah, I mean, that's essentially it. Um, Suddenly, this road's very busy now that I started recording, but that's essentially it. Yeah, I failed the year. For me, I guess I want to put a bit more emphasis on, like, not necessarily emphasis, but I want to explain my point on this being the best potential outcome. And I think, as I kind of touched on before, going into third year, sitting in a room, I think a lot of people are looking at this year at university and they're saying, like, do I really want to start uni, studying from a computer, not being able to go outside, having clubs closed, having the whole experience kind of tampered. And while I don't completely agree with that, I'm not necessarily from a state of mind where it's like I want to be going out. I don't really care as much about that. But having to sit third year, one of the hardest years, if not the hardest year, because some courses are only 3 years. Like, it's going to be very difficult. And having to do that from a position where I'm already behind, I'm going to be very far away. I'm not going to know everyone who has access to the people that I need to have access to. It just seemed a bit off. And yeah, there are several reasons for me to look favorably, like, upon this outcome. I think another thing I guess worth mentioning is that with me, university very much is like, contrary to the current predicament we find ourselves in. University is one of the easiest things I have to do right now, in the sense where it's literally like you show up and you pass. You show up, you learn a couple of things, and usually that's enough to get you through to the other side. Whereas when you have all these, like, I kind of see it, I guess, as a pot in a collection of pots that that make up, I suppose, what life is. For example, you have, like, a pot for family, a pot for your friends, your jobs, your career, internships, all this stuff. University is one of them as well. I would also obviously put, like, this YouTube channel in, the Undergraduate Survival Guide podcast. I think all these things exist as pots, as variable sizes, different shape sizes, all these different pots. And it's like, while university, as I said, is probably the easiest one, that pot is always empty, which is a good thing given the context, because, like, every other pot at any other point is always, like, so close to overflowing. And I'm putting so much time and effort and energy into, like, checking on every other pot, making sure things don't overflow, things don't become too difficult, making sure that everything is bearable at all times, keeping the lid on all of these different pots. And then I end up with uni being, like, the one pot that technically is the easiest. Technically, I have the least things to deal with when it comes to uni. The less, like, stresses come from there. But the time hasn't been put in. Like, I guess the pot should be empty from a stress standpoint, which is kind of what I'm getting at and hinting at. But it shouldn't be empty from a time standpoint. I should be investing the time in and the effort in. And it hasn't been possible these last 4 years, well, going on to 5 years now, because of all the other stuff that just keeps reoccurring in life. So I'm not one to complain. I mean, things are the way they are. I'm not gonna act like I couldn't have done better, because, of course, it's you always got to take responsibility for your actions, and fundamentally, there's never really like a, you know, I mean, so yeah, okay. Sometimes there are excuses that that explain why certain things happen, but 9 times out of 10, your excuse is just like, for at least for me. Let me talk about me and my experience. Most of my excuses, well, not most of them, but sometimes it comes down to just not being good with time, not managing my time very well, and that's, I guess, ultimately the root cause this year. But no, I'm not going to act like this year was fine sailing either, and that I could have done way better. It's just, again, yeah, best possible outcome is my take here. This car's taken a bit longer than I thought to get done, but I think one thing that makes sense to explain, that I reckon people are going to ask me anyway, mostly I suppose my friends and stuff, will be like, what was so bad this year for me to say that this year was, you know, like for this to be the best possible outcome. And I think, let me explain that for guys who don't already know, and then kind of paint the picture as to why, like, um, this year went so badly. Because I think, because since I put out a video in the past as well, saying, I failed first year because I didn't fit in very well, fell behind, struggled to catch up, had XYZ problems. Let me actually go and explain again, to be completely transparent, what happened this year. So I guess, to be fair, like, my difficulties this year are like way beyond, way beyond the reach of the pandemic. Like, even September, October, and even the months before starting this academic year, was very difficult, and I had a lot of stuff coming into it, and that I just wasn't able to fix, and that fundamentally put me in a very bad stead moving forward. And the first thing would be the living situation. So I think I touched on this before as well, the difficulties of living with people. But if I explore like my own personal reasons this time, I was meant to be living with 3 friends. We had a. I'm not going to go into the overly specific because it's kind of personal between the 3 of us. But one of us had an issue, was kind of went further but beyond like our circle. Like, there was a lot of issues, a lot of people were aware of it. It was quite poignant and prominent at the time around campus. And then we kind of looked at it, me and the other, one of the other person involved were like, we don't necessarily want to be in a circumstance where our careers, our futures, our years are damaged because of your actions. It felt like it's not 100%. Well, it's fair. I think it's fair. It wasn't like we felt bad about it. It's kind of annoying how we had to come to that solution, but at the same time, it's like it's not worth the risk. And everyone understood it was mutually agreed upon. We ended up going our separate ways. That was quite late in the year, which fundamentally is the reason why everything else messed up for me. Because while those two were lucky enough to sort the situations out, I wasn't able to sort out my living situation. So I ended up going all through the summer with nothing available. September, October, I'm trying to apply around, but the university is saying there's no space on campus. Like, we've oversubscribed students, and I completely blame the uni for this one. I think they shouldn't have oversubscribed, knowing that housing is going to be a problem, knowing that they're going to put people in first year, second year, third year, in Newport. A lot of us went to Newport. I studied in Bristol, and I was living in Newport, about 30. Is it 30 miles? I don't think it's fake. That sounds a bit wrong, but it's like a 45 minute to an hour journey into campus every morning. I have to drive, and if I didn't have a car, I wouldn't even be able to do that myself anyway. So this is very unfair. It sent me back a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of petrol. I had like my car had issues whilst I was out there that I had to fix. I mean, I couldn't come in for like a week, and I literally started second year, and as far as I'm concerned, like a month and a half, 2 months late, because that's how long it took for me to come back into Bristol. You can even see the videos if you go back in time. You can see the videos I took in my room while I was in Newport, and while I tried to make the best of it, it's difficult again to travel in and out every day, hour and a half, fill up petrol. Know that I got to leave by like 6:30, otherwise the car park for my accommodation is going to close. And there's so many issues that just made it impossible for me, at least at the beginning. And then yeah, I started way behind. I think after that, once I eventually came to Bristol, the situation was, you could argue, was better, but then it's like I'm living with random people. I mean, to be fair, my flat were fine. I had no issues with them, but it's like now I've got to quickly on the fly. They've already made their own groups. I need to integrate into that group quickly. I need to establish kitchen space, fridge space, which cupboard's mine, what the rules are, who takes out the bins when is it okay? Like, 'cause these guys are first years, they're trying to live their best lives, which is completely fine by me. But it's like, not everyday party. I've got to put my foot down, make some rules, and it's so many dynamics, social dynamics that I had to deal with, alongside trying to catch up a month's worth of work, alongside meeting the deadlines that were literally due that week. The same week I moved in, I had a deadline that same week that I hadn't done any work for because I hadn't really been on campus as much, and it was very, very turbulent, very, very ridiculous time. And that, of course, followed through into the final result as well, because one of my modules, the one that I failed, engineering mathematics 2, was a 20 credit module that extended the whole year. So falling behind in September, basically, like I stayed behind the whole year. And then, of course, when I caught up with all my other coursework projects, all my other assignments and things that were had deadlines, now I'm coming to February, March time. And of course, you guys know a whole global pandemic hits. So that's a bit, it's ridiculous, really. I think I was hard done by given the global circumstance, but at the same time, everyone's suffering. I'm just grateful to be alive. I haven't had corona yet. I'm still walking around with masks everywhere, so I can't be too angry. At the end of the day, it's just university. Like as I said, I'm still alive, still healthy. I still have my parents are still working. Things are things are good on many fronts, just not the academic one. Um, and yeah, that's I guess that's most of it. Like, I also had a lot of issues like family wise, again, social wise, friends wise, and stuff that culminated in just a very turbulent year for me this year. And that's why again I say it's the best possible outcome because I was not looking forward to starting third year now. Still technically behind. Like I've caught up the work, but I found it very, very difficult to work at home. And I know a lot of people with similar situations where it's very loud. You haven't got your own working space, your Wi-Fi issues and stuff like that. So I found it very difficult to work at home, and I'm still a little bit behind. While I've caught up the content, I'm not going to say like I know everything well enough to go straight into third year for the first time. While living at home with no lectures and no lab time, it would have been very, very difficult. And yeah, yeah, I don't know. It's a pain. I think my plan, which I haven't really thought it through yet in depth, is only I've been here for an hour and a part thinking about it, and it's like my plan right now would be cool to because I need to sort out student finance and find out if they're going to pay for this year or if they're not going to pay for this year. And if they're not, then I gotta get a job. If they are, then it's great. But then I need to figure out how, at what costs. Like, are they paying for this year and not paying for my final year? Are they going to like move years around? Or I need to find out the specifics of how that plan is going to look like. And then if that works for me, then it works for me. Yeah, I might have to get a job for the year, which would be good fun, balancing even more stuff on my plate. Um, and yeah. I've completely lost my train of thought. So I got to find out how finance works. If this year has been paid for, or at least if I can get a job and have my finances be in shape for the start of the year, then my plan would be to just do the exams. I don't see the point of doing all the lectures and stuff because they're going to be online anyway, and I'm better off just using lectures from last year and then doing this year's exam than I am for paying for a whole new set. Another £9,000 for the same lectures again, just to be watching them in my room anyway, which is literally how coronavirus is shaping up for this year to go. So I'll see how that goes. I might take up one or two extra modules just to see if I can like keep up with my programming stuff because I don't want to spend another year not doing any coding. That would be difficult going into my third and then final year after that. So yeah, I'll look into what I can do to stay, I guess, fresh the next year. But the one, I guess, difference is that now that it's still early in the year, damn it, I just realized it's going to impact the internship game series. I can't apply for internships now. I'm only in my second year, but I'm going to try and get. Yes, you know what? I will actually go and like pursue this. Even though it's a raw thought, it'll be good for the series where I'll try and get a placement, a sandwich year for my third because I really don't want to do 7 years in a row back to back to back to back in Bristol. It'd be great to have next year off, not off, but working, doing a placement where I can actually focus on myself, make some money, differentiate the years in my head as opposed to just a 7 year streak in the same place. So I'll look into that. I think I'll think about it a bit more. I'm not just going to make a rash decision now because of a YouTube series, but yeah, I'll put some thought into that. That's what I'm looking to do right now. But of course, I'm in a park. I need to get behind my laptop and see what the numbers are saying and how things work out. But yeah, yeah. Fundamentally, of course, as I said at the beginning of this video, I failed. It's not the best outcome. Well, it's the best. I think it's the best outcome, but it's not the best result, I guess. But at least hopefully the best outcome. It's all about making the most of my time now that I've got it, and of course getting organized. As I said, with student finance, accommodation, all these other things I need to get fixed as quickly as possible, so they don't hinder me going forward into this year. And then who knows? Maybe this situation is way better than I think because of the whole online situation. But we'll see how things go. That's basically it. I feel like I've covered most grounds there. I'm sure that throughout the year, more and more things will come up, and I'll have to explain that day by day, step by step. But as of right now, yeah, we took an L. Let's try and turn that into a W. The next internship game video will come very, very soon. I've already recorded and edited a video about what you should know before starting your first year. So that will come out. It would have been today, but this is going to come out today instead. So that will probably come out on Thursday. And then the podcast is back. UGSG. If you haven't already subscribed to that, check that out. I want to be putting new videos out there as well. New videos, new podcasts out there as well. And one thing that I've been planning to do all summer is get good at introductions, intros, outros, and hosting. So these things, I hope you notice it as I go through in time. I haven't actually implemented anything yet, but it's coming soon. You're going to see a lot more fresher, more smooth, transparent content. So that's that for now. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace.